Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Built for the Stage podcast. This is Joe Roscoe, founder and host of Built for the Stage, Broadway's #1 fitness platform with actor athletes in over 20 Broadway shows, actor athletes on the West End, Australia, collegiate theaters across the country, and much more. We are your one-stop shop for all things fitness and theater. If you want to try out a free trial on an interactive fitness app where you will work one-on-one with none other than myself, you can do so at builtforthestage.com. All right, let's get on to our special guest. Can't wait to intro our guest from my parents' lovely office in Ohio here, as I'm going to be chatting with our guest that's all the way over across the pond in London. They're currently in the production of Guys and Dolls that I cannot wait to see. I believe I'm going next Saturday, so I'm excited to chat with our guest about that. You've seen our guest in many stages in the UK, on the West End, touring, things like Jack and the Beanstalk, Me and My Girl, The Witches of Eastwick, The Addams Family, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the list goes on and on. They're currently playing the role of Anne and a swing in Guys and Dolls. Please welcome to the podcast, Kathryn Barnes. Yay! Hi, how are you? Let's do this for everyone watching at home. Here we are.
Now, usually
Yay!
I would have 2 more drinks going on.
So if you're listening just audibly on a podcast platform, Kathryn and I are holding up our hot beverage and our water in both of our hands here. So we're over here getting hydrated, that's for sure.
Yeah, one for
So
energy and one for hydration is what you need.
correct. So it's Friday. How the show's been going. We'll jump into Guys and Dolls for a second, and then I'm gonna rewind and ask you like what your favorite cartoon was at the age of 4. We'll get to the important stuff like those eyes. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. So this week of shows is Guys and Dolls kind of, it seems like it's very interactive as far as the audience experience goes. So is every night kind of different? Anything special go on this past week so far?
Um, well, I think there's one thing you can really say is very different about the show is that it's completely immersive. And I obviously don't want to like say too much. And I was actually with some colleagues yesterday having this exact conversation, how no show is the same. So obviously you have like audiences that react in a different way, or just like any other theatre show, you know, sometimes things unexpected get a laugh. I'm trying to think.
So when I go, I haven't purchased my tickets yet. Should I get the floor seats where I'm moving, or should I get the seated like normal seats?
Get the floor seats.
Okay, done. I'm gonna get them.
Make sure you're well rested, well hydrated, because you're going to spend 2 hours 40 looking up.
Oh,
And
right.
my biggest tip is to like move around. So like don't stand in one place. You know, if something happens where one scene is happening, go and have a look, go and see it, and then come back to like the main stage bit.
Yeah.
I'm
You
just trying to think if anything exciting has happened. We do have fainters every now and then.
amazing. Amazing.
And you find that
And
sometimes
how do you resolve that? Is the show stopped, or do you have like the ushers just rush and carry them out over their shoulder? What happens here?
so we have hosts. So the hosts are around the around a certain point. I don't want to tell you too much because like the thing that I could tell you will spoil it when you see it. So there'll be hosts around to make sure everyone stays safe. And say if we hear on comms there's a fainter, like obviously everyone rushes. Yet to a show stop yet, because obviously you want to keep like that person's dignity and stuff.
Sure.
I've never had to step over a fainter. It's always been dealt with very nicely, very kindly, very professionally. But touch wood, we haven't had one this week. But sometimes we can have several in one show. But yeah.
Wow. Do you think they're drinking too much? They're older? Like what happens?
I think it's a combination of many things. Sometimes like too many drinks, sometimes not enough water. Sometimes they've been out doing sights all day and don't kind of realize you're literally
Mm.
on your feet the whole time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, no, it's we haven't had well, actually something exciting this week. We've had our a few covers on. So we've had our cover Adelaide on. It's been really fun, and
Okay, cool.
lots of the swings have been doing multiple tracks, split tracks, left, right, and centre. So it's been there's never a week the same at work with
Yeah.
this show. Never a week the same. Um, but it's been very pleasant actually. The
Yeah,
pandemic
I think I was asking about maybe they were drinking too much because I found that I feel like people that the patrons in London go a little bit harder than the ones in New York. I visited London in October of last year. I had a guy vomit in the lobby of the Lion King that was intoxicated. I had a young lady at Moulin Rouge come into what is labeled as the men's restroom, squat into a urinal right next to me, and relieved herself while her friend was like holding her jacket over her as like a curtain.
like to cover.
Um, yeah, yeah, that was something. And then I had someone like standing up doing like a sing along at one point, which was not encouraged or so I think it's hilarious how you can bring like a whole wine bottle into the audience, into the house. I was like, what is going on in here in London? I'm okay with it, I guess.
I mean, at work, at Guys and Dolls are a little bit stricter. Obviously, there are certain places that you can't have drinks, and also because you know accidental bumps are inevitable. Like if you have a drink, it's in a plastic cup. Like there
Yeah,
has to be certain things about the show as an immersive to keep us safe as well as and the crew and as well as the audience. Um,
right.
but yeah, no, there's a cocktail menu which kind of corresponds and like relates to the show. A
Sure,
certain
sure.
point in Act Two, you'll see where the Club does various cocktails. Um,
Mhm.
get on a leg in Act Two. Sit on a seat in Act Two. Make sure you do.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, okay. I
uh,
actually, I think I'll probably go twice. I think I'm gonna do the normal seat once, and then I'll
okay.
do the floor. My first musical ever, Little Joey Roscoe in 7th grade, was Guys and Dolls Junior. So Guys and Dolls holds a, you know, very special place in my heart.
Well, it's a
Um,
classic as well. Like
sorry, say it again.
the show is just a classic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. For sure. Yeah, I think even before doing it when I was a kid, my mom would have on the Frank Sinatra movie, and I'd watch that Guys and Dolls version. Yeah. All right, let's hop off of Guys and Dolls real quick. We'll come back, but let's get a little getting to know you. We're
Okay.
gonna do something I like to call the BFTS hot seat. We had a guest this last time though. They in a funny way, said it was more like a warm seat because I'm very nice. I'm very nice. So don't stress.
Okay,
Consider it a BFTS warm seat. All right. So, first question.
buddy.
You, oh,
Sorry, keep
yay.
going.
Yay. Let's,
Go, go, go.
uh, what can we see him? No.
Where are
Where
you?
is he? Yay.
No, I can't
What,
get him. I'm so
what's his
sorry.
name?
His name's Buddy. Buddy the dog.
Buddy.
There he
Buddy,
is.
you're welcome on the podcast at any time. Oh, hey, cutie.
I'm so sorry. If I didn't stop him barking, he would not stop.
It's
I'm all
okay.
yours.
My two dogs are here at my parents' house, and my dad's like, "You better close the blinds to the windows so that they don't bark at anyone outside." And we were just
You've
chatting
done this
about how,
before, and I
yeah,
should.
no, it's totally acceptable after the pandemic. Newscast, podcast, anything. It's a free for all. So, anyways,
Okay, I'm all yours.
first question: You're not a performer. You're going to be doing some other type of profession. What are you going to be doing?
Have two answers, but my first answer is lawyer.
Okay.
I feel like I'm very tenacious and I would be very cutthroat, a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then on the other spectrum, I'd move abroad and rescue dogs.
Okay. So are you first going back to the first one? Are you a prosecuting or a defense attorney?
Prosecuting.
Okay.
I want
Okay.
to. I want to take. I want to get those bad guys down.
There we go. Okay. And
Yeah.
then abroad, do you have any like place in mind that you're gonna go rescue these dogs?
Maybe like somewhere hot,
Okay.
like
Maybe Brazil?
Bali or
Oh,
yeah, or
okay.
like Mexico. Just go and look after all the dogs because they're in America. I believe there's the Asher House, and he looks after. It's like a sanctuary for animals. And I look at it and I just think that I could really do that because I'm obsessed
Yeah.
with dogs, love them. Um, and but it's just gone really. And yeah, so lawyer or dog saver, rescuer.
Cool. I brought up Brazil because I've been twice and there's tons of street dogs and they're so accustomed to just roaming about that they know how to properly cross the street, like using the crosswalks. It was
No
like
way.
yeah, it was baffling. But okay, so anyways, see it's not such a hot seat. Usually a hot seat's like boom, 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 boom. All right, so we're gonna rewind in time. We're gonna be watching cable television. We're not streaming, but we're like flicking through the channels. What's a movie that you've seen over and over, but no matter how many times the movie comes up, you have to stop and watch it?
Taken.
Okay, with Liam Neeson?
Yes.
Love
I have
it.
a very
Okay.
particular set of skills. Yeah, that one.
I will what do you say? I will find you and I
And I
will
will kill you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hilarious. Okay. You're waking up, you need to have a good day, but the vibe is just not quite right. What is one of your go-to songs that gets you going?
Valerie, but the Amy Winehouse version.
Of course. That's a yeah, it's the fir yes. Oh, God rest her soul.
Yeah.
I did wish she didn't leave us. So
Such a
much more talent left. But all right, so last question we're gonna do. If you could get into a time machine, go into the future or the past, where would you or what time period would you go to and where and what would you be doing? So an example, going to the Wild West, I'm gonna be a cowboy and I don't know, do some gunslinging. What's yours gonna be?
I'd go back to the suffragette movement. So what was that? Early 1923? Is that right? 23?
We'll have to ask the history buffs. Anyone watching, go ahead and put that in the comments.
Because the first vote. Oh, I'm going to make myself look really silly now. I'd go back to like the 1920s, 1930s. Yeah, I'm sure it was before the war. To the suffragette movement, and I'd
Okay.
want to go and participate.
Okay. All right, cool. Nice. All right, so you're off the BFTS hot seat. See, not so bad. Fun little way to shake things loose a bit. Let's rewind to growing up. When did you start performing? When did this happen for you?
I was very, very young, and I believe was a lot as a child. I had a lot of energy, uh, and I have parents that worked very hard. And I think my grandmother said to my mum, "Why don't you take her to dance classes? Why to tap classes?" And I remember being in my little purple ISTD leotard and my little tie-up tap shoes, with the little holes in them, like really little. And I was taken to tap, and from there, tap turned into ballet, turned into modern, turned into dance festivals or competitions. Um, and then from there, just it never really kind of stopped moving and progressing. But yeah, I wasn't a naughty child. I just think I had a lot of energy and like needed some kind of outlet for my creativity. I was very had huge expressions and loved to dance around living rooms. And I remember there's one memory of me dancing around my grandparents' conservatory and making my granddad film. I know there's lots of those kind of video footage around.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah,
And when did you decide that, hey, I'm gonna give this a go professionally?
I think 16 it was, and but I went to go and do, I don't know what you call them over there, but we call them like A levels. So it's like not university, but our college in between university and school.
Okay.
Um, and then I randomly picked psychology, IT, and then did dance and drama. Um, and then so I was like, in case anything happens, I'll like get the kind of subjects I should
Uh-huh.
be
Quote
doing,
unquote. Yeah, yeah,
quote
yeah.
unquote. And then yeah, 17, did all my applications, did my auditions to go to vocational college in central London. And then from there, kind of just rode the wave of
Yeah. Okay, so
how it is.
let's talk about riding the wave. So you had these other studies that you did to fall back onto, which could at times be tempting to just do because the industry, as far as performing goes, is so difficult. While you were riding this wave, how did you find consistency or groundedness to allow you to persist and keep going?
Uh, well, those subjects, psychology, I just think is having that kind of knowledge is just helpful as like a life skill. I like to think of very intuitive, and I think sometimes life, but particularly our industry in general, can be about problem solving with different types of egos or different opinions or different people with different opinions. And
Yeah,
when you're all put into a creative pot, you're all forced to work together. It's finding those coping mechanisms to kind of survive and hopefully not be, you know, cultivate myself a good reputation. So that's kind of been kept me grounded and consistent. But like I've also done so many jobs. So done PAing, receptionist in London, office managers, worked in HR for a couple of years, particularly over COVID, because the show I was in closed. And obviously everyone closed. But I kind of went to work in an office because I'm a touch typer. I can type really well. So I have that experience of those normal, I say what's normal, subjects to kind of
mm,
give me lots of little back avenues.
right.
So, doing various HR bits in an education setting, which then is useful to kind of when there are problems, maybe in a job you might be in. I'm very aware of contractual things and things companies can or maybe shouldn't be trying to
Mm,
do. And it's just having that knowledge just to, preserve colleagues and, try and be
yeah.
helpful as much as possible, just to like it just grounds you. I think it's important to have other skills outside of the industry rather than your craft that everyone cares
This
about and cultivates.
Yeah, the psychology side of things, how have you
Ish.
how have you found, how have you found that the psychology part has helped with your auditioning or rehearsals? It's okay about the barking. We lo if anyone that is bothered by the barking that's listening, they're listening to the wrong podcast, okay? Because dogs first here on this podcast.
Enough. It's because someone's
Tell
walked
them,
my window and he can feel the vibrations.
yeah, yeah, tell them, buddy, you tell them.
Do you want to see him right now?
Yeah, of course, of course.
He thinks he's in charge.
The little watchman. He's over there keeping guard. Okay, so the psychology of how it could help you. You talked about how you could use it to like navigate a room of different personalities and whatnot. But how about your own psyche going into maybe an audition or performing on the stage? How have you used that to your benefit that maybe a common person that didn't study it wouldn't know, "Oh, I'm feeling this way because of XYZ," or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's just having that awareness of like, I don't know, very various situations that you would study in psychology, which can then uh maybe validate or justify things you might be feeling. I'm trying to think of an example. So I don't know if you're feeling one way and I don't know, you're really quite tired or burnt out. It's easy just to kind of be like, oh, everything's so difficult. We're having a bad time of having a bad show. But I think for me, having that knowledge of kind of studying that subject is really useful because it just put knowledge against feelings. So
Mm.
if you're,
Yeah,
do you know what
I
I'm
get,
saying? If when you're
yeah, not,
aware why you're feeling something, it's easier to sit in that and go, okay, I feel this because of this reason. Right. So then you're not having to do that curiosity search where you're trying to work out why am I feeling this way? How am I meant to make myself feel better or change the way I'm thinking? Um,
mhm,
So for me, it just helps me regulate because, everyone's emotional. Some people are more reactive than others. Um, but it's certainly been a self growth journey for me is I, can be quite fiery, but I now like to think with, the work I've done and maybe the, bits of therapy that I think everyone should do. It just kind of helps you put your feelings to one side for a second to be able to do your job without
yeah,
taking those on stage, if that makes sense.
yeah. I get in trouble for this one a lot with the community because I often speak out about, like, not not listening to your feelings most of the time because our I just posted about our feelings want us to be, comfortable. They want us to, be safe or stagnant in some ways, and also our feelings can be not coming from a place of justification, like you're saying, awareness of like, i- are my feelings this way because this is how I actually feel, or am I allowing this outside circumstance to manipulate the way I'm feeling and
Mm,
mislead me on what I really should be doing?
yeah. Like, it's
So
crazy how you can think one thing and then because the brain is so powerful, that you can overthink something and it becomes the complete opposite of what reality is. Um, but I think that, and here's an interesting thing that I always kind of think about is in the industry, we're pretending to be other people. So you're never really yourself, and the feelings you're feeling in every show or in every number, depending, what show you're doing. I don't know, it'd be the same in Cats or I don't know if you're doing like a Chekhov play or something. But it's just having that coming back to you being a human as to you being a character because they can sometimes really blend, or you can like feel stuck in this bubble that isn't real. Does
yeah,
that make
yeah,
sense?
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love that we stumbled upon that. Amazing. Uh, what I wanted to ask you next is I saw on your Instagram you posted a few things about a couple of things of your training, your exercise. How does that involve or come into play with your life or your career? How do you like fit that in with yeah, the busyness of theater?
I must admit that going to the gym has been a bit of a life savior for me. I've only recently, and I feel like it's a trend that everyone's kind of realizing and jumping on, is like the weightlifting and using that with all the knowledge that we now know about nutrition and sleep and hydration. And I think as a young performer, I completely avoided that. Would go on a big night out, come into a show, and then wonder why I was, I don't know, aching or um, feeling really fatigued. Um, but I like to do a lot of weight training. For me, I have, well, touch wood, I had some quite nasty injuries in the earlier part of my career, and it just kind of helps keep me safe and stable, particularly if at the moment I'm doing a whole show in heels, on moving platforms. So it's just finding that like strong structure base,
Yeah.
which I find makes me a better dancer. And I've always thought, like as performers doing 8, sometimes 9, 10 shows a week in some shows, that the athleticism is so important. So if you like neglect, strength and even a bit of cardio, even if you're doing quite a cardio heavy show, it's good for the brain. It's also good for the body. And I really do believe that it's kind of rehabilitated old injuries. I also think COVID and the rest helped that as well. And maybe like a different mindset. It sounds really crazy, but when you're feeling strong, like, going and working out in the gym and things, and it is really hard to do it with the show. It's really hard to do it with the show, and I must admit it's less easy to do it with the schedule because we've been in rehearsals quite a lot, giving Buddy evils.
It's
Yeah.
okay, it's okay. It's anyone that's watching or listening, it's like they get to be in the living room with us, you know?
I
they're a
know,
part
we
of the
can be really annoying.
they're a part of the experience.
um, but yeah, it's much harder because we've been in rehearsals quite a lot. And you know, I live just outside of London in Surrey. So, it can sometimes it's late coming home and you don't necessarily want to get up and go to the gym. But
Mhm.
for my body and my mind, it's something that is a non-negotiable, really. It has to happen. And
Mm.
also, like for instance, in the show now, we wear sometimes very little. And that just kind of plays on the body image. And to me, I just want to feel good in what I'm having to wear, even in everyday life, as well as costumes and things. And I enjoy a challenge as well. I think we should always be challenging ourselves. So, once I've done that 20 kg in a squat, I'll
There you
start
go.
doing a 25 or 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do it mostly for my knees. Cats ruined my knees. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, I think the odd muscle is a benefit. It
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
you better. If you feel better, I believe you perform better. If you look after yourself, you look better, you feel better about yourself in the mirror. I think you then take that confidence and you perform better, be it at work, be it in social situations, be that, I don't know, in any situation. I just think if we prioritize ourselves with fitness and what we're eating, I just think people can really conquer the world or
Yeah,
do
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
they do. But yeah, no, I
Yeah.
do like working out a lot.
Love it. Love all the answers. We're gonna hop over to the hot box here. I had to sneak in this ghost background if you're watching on YouTube here. But yes to all of that. I always like to note that like when you're doing a show, you're doing the same thing every day. So the body becomes in this neutral state or an overworked state. So training allows us to work out those imbalances that the show is inevitably putting on us because we're doing the same repetitive thing 8 times a week.
Yeah.
So even though you're being physical in the same exact way. So we need to even that out through our training. All right, the
Yeah.
hot box. Before we go, tell us, let's say two of your favorite moments that always like brings a smile or that you just overly enjoy while performing the show.
Oh, two. There's okay.
Or 3 or 7 or 11, however many.
Okay, my favorite moment is probably the first note of the orchestra when they play the overture. Because when you watch it, the space changes, things change, lights appear. And what I love about our show is that the band are on full view. They're part of it. They're as just as visible as everybody else, which is important because they're part of the show. I'd probably say maybe the other one would be the girls' numbers. Both of them, they're very different. One is very gritty and like a bit contemporary-esque, and the other is very glitzy and glam and very placed. One kind of plays with what we would think the Hot Box girls would be doing. It's a little
Okay.
bit more I don't want to say adult because it makes it sound like it's like a soft porn or something, and it's not. It's just I know exactly what it is. It's women really unafraid to be themselves. And then
All
the other
right.
one is the very placed, maybe stereotypical what a woman would be, which is then turned upside down as soon as the dance break happens. But yeah,
Okay,
that's my
cool.
few favorite moments. There are many others. Oh, sorry, I've got one more.
Yeah.
Um, it's the number "Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat," and although it is a bitch to swing,
Uh-huh.
it's once you've done it and you've known you've done it right, and it's almost like it's like a half excitement, half relief. You've done it, and we have the most fantastic Nicey Johnson. His voice is insane. It's when the audience go crazy, and to me, it's like that. Oh, I'm really part of something exciting. Like,
Yeah.
not only if oh, thank goodness I've done it, I've done it, but then it's seeing everyone's faces, and I don't want to tell you too much when they're encouraged to push the number along, maybe for a second time.
Okay.
Yeah, they're my three favorite moments, I think.
Fabulous. Fabulous. There's nothing like an old school musicals prologue, the orchestration in the beginning. I miss that. In musicals contemporary, we don't have that big orchestration in the beginning, you know?
You wait till next week. You
I
wait. I'm
I
going to be
can't
talking from you. I'll be like, yeah, go on, listen.
I can't wait. I can't wait. All right, I appreciate it. Kathryn, thanks so much for spending your time with us on Build for the Stage podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. And Buddy said quite a bit today as well. He's just he wants to go outside.
Buddy, we'll try to get a I'll ask my two dogs for interpretation help to see what Buddy might have been saying all that time, but we'll put that maybe in the description of the episode to get the dialogue from Buddy.
He's a big
So,
character. You got to love him. It was
yeah,
lovely to talk to you, and thank you for having me.
my pleasure. All right, everyone. Kathryn Barnes. Make sure you give Kathryn a follow on the Instagram. That's in the description of this episode. It's at KBarnesY3. Again, you can check that out right in the description of the episode. Give her a follow. Always a pleasure. Thanks for spending your time with me in my parents' office here in Ohio. Going to be flying to London in just a few days. Can't wait. But until then, I'm this ghostly figure in the hot box. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening along on a podcast platform, thanks. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Head on over to buildforthestage.com. Actors or athletes, train like one. Later.